I was put on this earth to build a world where all kids can feel safe.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna be my mommy and daddy?
We sure would love that if you'll have us.
Folks just love a good American family.
Oh, Lord have mercy. The end did Natalia just how the show did her real bad. We're back, y'all. This is the finale, Good American Family. We've been covering it all season. Welcome to the live. I hope everyone has had an amazing day. Just before we get started, really quick, I want to thank y'all for last night. It was incredible. Today has been incredible. The love, the joy, the opportunities, have been amazing. But of course, I'm not here alone. Y'all see her. Y'all see them. Tyra over at Struggle Reviews TV. Are you ready to get into it? And how are you today? How are you?
I'm good and I'm ready. We got yes, yes, give us nothing. Give us nothing, good American family. I'm ready to see, what you got cooked up because,
Girl,
you
no.
know,
It's gonna be an us live, so it's gonna be good. But y'all, this episode wasn't Jesus. It didn't give what I needed it to give. But hello, everyone. Hey, Aisha. Hey, CJ. Hey, Darfalina. Hey, Tremaine. Hey, Naries. What's up? What's good? I hope everyone is having a great day. But we're not gonna belabor the point because I hear y'all got plans in the Discord. Y'all couldn't get enough of toi and motives, so they're going to proceed to give you what you need.
no. For anybody who was in there last night, because I'm not really getting into motives like that. So we're gonna do uninvited guests in Twa too. Real ghetto affair.
Okay, because I mean, not for nothing. Wasn't bad. Like, I
Hmm.
was entertained. I was up now. 20 minutes into motives, I fell asleep and
Child,
clocked
because
out.
then nobody want to see Maya Wilkes and them bones, child. That's all that was.
Child. But we're ready to get into it. Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate you being here. So y'all look cute or whatever. Thank
Oh,
you,
thank
girl.
you.
Hey, Tatiana. Hey, I'm ready to be disgusting with the whole family. Listen. The time I would have spent watching this, we were watching the Ladies Detective Agency. Listen, and we finished, Darfalina. You never came back, but we did finish that over in the Discord.
Did they like it?
I think everybody liked it. Everybody was mad that it was done in 7 episodes. I was telling them all day, we got 10 episodes. We got 10 episodes. And I looked
Yes, TP.
and it was done. It was done. Hey TP,
Friendly
what's good?
reminder. Yes, TP. That at two. Yes.
Yes, baby. We gonna watch Raising Kanan tonight.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was fine. But let's get into Good American Family and all of this. Tyra, as we do every week, and this is for the final time for this raggedy show. What were your overall thoughts?
I I don't know. It's strange because I see exactly what they were trying to do. I was like, whoever wrote this show, you can tell that they really studied those docs and tried to formulate some narratives around it to where it was really one sided, and then we get kind of middle ground, and then you get Natalia, and then we're here. But with it starting off for so long, staying in such spectacle, now it just seems like, huh? It's like it's ending with a whimper because it was so grand for so long and so out there. So now it's like, now y'all want to be normal.
Mhm.
Now y'all want to be normal and give, such a subdued perspective and just kind of end it like, I was a little girl and you didn't do anything. You didn't save me.
Why
It's
did
just
you
like,
help me?
we failed you, Natalia. We should have did better by you. And it just goes off. It's like,
Yeah.
I wanted, I wanted theatrics and we didn't really get that. It just seems a little, anticlimactic.
Yeah, and it was, and I think my biggest qualm with it is that it didn't have to be, babe, because them docs didn't leave it anticlimactic. And even when we get to the end credits and they're showing, what happened after, we had fodder there to do a little bit more. I don't know if they ran out of budget. I don't know if they ran out of steam, but if they would have got us Natalia in all black like the omen on the steps talking about Natalia's
They just
tweaking,
tweaking.
that would have been cooking. I would have been here for that. We could have taken that directly from real life. But I was extremely underwhelmed. I was bored. It took me 3 or 4 times
Me
to get
too.
through this episode. And I gets through an episode like
I went to sleep several times.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, what happened? Let me rewind it. What happened? Let me rewind." It just didn't give. And I think for everything that is done throughout this entire series, I don't think it's fair to the story to kind of let it taper off like that, because I think it was worth more than that. But again, this was episode 8, the finale, Blood on Her Hands. And yeah, we start here, Tyra. We know that at the end of episode 7, Natalia was on the road. She was on the road. She was at Dr. Phil's house. Uh, and so we get a snippet of that interview where she's like, Dr. Phil, if somebody told you your name wasn't Dr. Phil, would that change who you were? Would you still be Dr. Phil? Well, I'm not a 21-year-old vagabond. I was an 8-year-old girl. And so we see that. And then, of course, we see Kristine and Michael very divorced, honey, because he's got his new wifey there. I didn't need this, Tyra. Let's combine our defenses, because not for nothing, but everybody loves you presenting a united front, as in Kristine and Michael. Talk to me about this opening scene. What do you think of their strategy in terms of defense, and what do you think of Natalia's press tour?
Child, the press tour that never was. She fought the good fight. Natalia tried. They really, because logically, there was no reason for her not to be victorious at the end of this trial, but clearly they had the lawyer of Jesus because everything ended, completely not in her favor. The first of all, the Dr. Phil impersonator was everything. I was like, all right, sir. Okay, sir, you better act down. That was that. But I'm having a hard time with kind of how we started and where we ended up. And it was like if we really weren't kind of gonna full on explore things, then I'd rather be over there with the spectacle. At least it was fun. At
Yeah.
least it was fun and it was exciting to watch. I need more of that versus kind of what we got last episode or the one before in this one. Like, I don't need time with Michael's wife and her not wanting to leave the room and wanting to give long gazes and lip locks because my man, my man. Don't nobody want Michael? Nobody wants
Yeah.
Michael. Between that and just kind of lingering in areas where I didn't feel like we needed to. It just I was like, okay, I don't think we're off to a good start. And I was like, okay, this is where we're gonna kind of leave off. And this really confirmed, like, oh, we really not gonna get into Natalia tweaking and none of those things. We're gonna kind of cut it at the trial, which was also like I wanted to see those things because y'all introduced us to these mans and the family. Like, why even introduce us to the mans and the family or have little suggestive things like when Natalia first met them and the little girl was like, I'm writing a card or whatever to my mommy, but don't tell her because, she has plex with it. Just kind of that underlining or have her kind of step in and, yeah, I'm going to take you to my house. We're going to use all your food stamps first. Or even kind of, insinuate that, you're using, you're not upright. Also, if we weren't going to really explore it.
Yeah, I you're right. And I think that like again, everybody in this real life story is very animated, very much everyone has a personality to draw from. And I think again, you do the viewer a disservice since I believe this is going to be a limited series. I haven't heard anything about them trying to extend this or make this a season two. So I think the onus was on them to really dive deeper instead of just giving us a blurb at the end about, allegations or whatever. But, this was kind of a money grab, and we knew that going in. This was strictly about a bag, after the success, I believe, of the docuseries. But here we are now preparing, and we see all of the witnesses for the depositions. We see doctors, we see nurses at LaRue Carter, we see grandma. Now, if you watch the documentary, you know that this is fabricated. This now I won't say that for the doctor because there was a doctor, it was a male doctor in the docuseries that said, you're not interested in the truth, like no one's interested in the truth here. But these people, especially Granny Mae over in the Westfield Hood projects,
Girl wouldn't touch it.
she said, I still think I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what the papers say. Natalia was a grown woman who violated my grandchild. Talk to me about what you thought of the presentation of these witnesses. And I guess we're supposed to think that Kristine and Michael are quaking in their boots at this point.
Girl, that's what it gave. Like, I don't know. I think this was for anybody who weren't as invested in the story, who maybe hadn't seen any docs or any prior information. You would maybe logically go, well, okay, like they're going down, like all the evidence is here, even all these witnesses. But for anybody who's seen it in like the actual factual, we're like, no,
Yeah.
no, this wasn't that. Especially, I was chilling until they put Granny on the screen. I was like, y'all know damn well that lady is gonna go on to glory saying that Natalia was an adult. I don't care what nobody says. Like, lock her up, nurse, she's out. She would never. But just to give some justice to Natalia as to why this was, wrong. We got all these witnesses here, but we knew that it didn't really amount to much because we knew the outcome. But this probably did a service to people who didn't know the story. I will say that.
Yeah, except they're lying, and I just needed to know the truth. Here's the thing, and I know that was a part of this because it almost felt in moment like satire. Because again, everyone's presenting their side, and of course, it's going to be rainbows, butterflies. They're going to paint themselves in the best light possible. But I really think, as far as if they were wanting to be true to real life, I think they would have needed to make Natalia's character a bit more nuanced. Like she went from villain to super angel, and I think she rested somewhere in between. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Oh
But
yeah, girl.
but now with the bad press though, honey, Kristine's books and programs, and because she's built an entire empire off of Jacob's back, honey, and his Mensa level intelligence, if that's really true. And so now she's kind of being called to the carpet because how are you writing about parenting and you threw that baby back? You threw her off the train. Tyra, talk to me about this interaction, and then also now her best friend getting a picture of who she is.
Girl,
Like,
this heifer best friend, this
friend.
heifer best friend. Eh, they're just they're with everybody else. Everybody else who fell in line and just took Kristine's word as gold. If you said she's X, Y, and Z, she is, and we're gonna act accordingly and age her up and treat her like spit and call her everything but a child of God when she rolls up thinking that they were still there and they were halfway to Canada. Like, lady, a little too late for that. I didn't want to hear nothing that best friend had to say because anybody on the outside looking in, you knew that these things were wrong. You just wanted to be on the right side of Kristine and take her side because apparently Kristine had all these people in her life, and my child wouldn't be where they were if it wasn't for Kristine. So I'm going to take her side, even if it means disregarding a little girl's life. I mean, they were trying to. I guess it felt like this episode, since Natalia couldn't get justice, it was like, well, at least Kristine not making a bag no more. At least her name is Mud. At least, nobody wants to endorse her. It's like, yeah, that's cool or whatever, but that's not the type of justice. Like, anybody who's anybody wanted Kristine to get locked the hell up.
Period.
She should have been. But the fact that she wasn't, it just, it made you feel bad about the whole situation, and it's not going to do a whole lot for me to know that, well, you can no longer do the good work that you were doing, or your name is mud out here in these parenting book streets and all that good stuff. I didn't care.
What do you think about the shift as far as Kristine? Because of course, when we started the season, some people were true believers. No, Kristine was in the right. She did what I would have done. Like this lady was good, and now seeing the aftermath, at least how they're presenting her in the show, do you think that they did a great job in showing like the two sides of one coin, or did your, well, I mean, it's hard going into it knowing, you know what I mean, because we kind of knew the story already, but as far as how she's painted, do you like her portrayal, how they kind of show the different sides, or did they go dark enough on this tail end of it?
They could have went a little darker. They could have went a little darker, and I do understand. Like when we did kind of get more into the abusive side, we still didn't really want to dive into those things. But I think the physical, like laying on the hands abuse was, the higher. It was a whole link in the chain because Kristine did several things, and we didn't see anything outside. Walk around the block, Natalia, like that. That was that. But outside of that, she really like tortured her. And
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really get too much into that. We just saw that, or really, it was that was Michael's vehicle. Like, oh god, oh she was terrible. Like, yeah, that was that. But Kristine kind of still comes out of this looking like, for Kristine is a service to anybody who still to this day is like, well, you know what? I don't care what nobody says. That has to still 87 and she's old. Natalia, she was never a child. There's that. She's a service to that. She gives a little levity to that narrative because it's like, was Kristine really that bad? Was she, she was just protecting her family, like, and then she did get off. So if she did something wrong, she would have went to jail, right? Like it doesn't land well because Kristine was sick.
Absolutely. And we kind of see again subtle demonstrations of it. And I mean, if anyone's looking at it, to think that she knew the whole time that this child was a baby and said, this is our way to get rid of her. I don't care what happens to her. In the doc, we find out that she was hooking Natalia up with grown men, trying to get her, in certain situations. Like, it's really, really sick. I think they could have gone deeper. But again, someone had talked about it in the chat. The goal of the showrunner, writer, corrector, or writer, producer was to show the audience how elusive the truth can be. And I was like, oh, okay. So it doesn't seem like they were genuinely trying to tell her story. It's almost like they made a case study of it. Like,
I I think with all of them, especially Kristine, it's like we can't go 100% on Kristine and not go 100% on Natalia because we got a certain Natalia here too. We didn't. There are multiple situations with Natalia for us to be like, that's not right. That doesn't sound right. Or like, oh, you don't remember that? You didn't say that, or just the households that she's ran through and why people maybe felt like, yeah, she has to go. She's a problem outside of these things. She's a tyrant. Like she's problematic, or she does have these abusive tendencies because she has been from pillar to post and been through all these homes and hasn't been treated the best as a child. She's been traumatized, and sometimes she displays that in the worst way. And I'm not jeopardizing my home and my kids. She has to be removed. All of those little cheeky things with Natalia for us to even think for how long that we did that she was lying, they conduce to a really good story. But I feel like they were like, yeah, we're only going to go so far with Natalia and with Kristine. Now,
yeah.
Michael, child, we was kind of calm on Michael too, because Michael was outside.
Definitely animate, definitely way extra. And again, I just don't think it was that type of storytelling. And I definitely agree with what you said, Tatiana. This felt like a parody satire. It felt like off-brand American Horror Story. Like it was so, but again, the truth is stranger than fiction. I think they could have been more hard hitting and still kept that air of whimsy because The doc is kind of funny. I mean, it's heavy material. It is. But there are certain points where you're just like, what in the world? But easing on down this road, honey, we are now going through all of these text messages, honey, that they done sent. The M word, reunions, and now seduction, Tyra, because we know that Kristine spirited away them sons, honey, told them that Michael was beating her. He was abusing her. And so now that they have to, put their heads together to present a united front, which again is a kind of another difference from the doc, because in the documentary, they were still very much at odds with each other, because again, the cheating, him realizing what had happened and him feeling like she was sexually abusing him was still very real. He had like such a hate and animus towards her. Even during his part of the trial, it was interesting. They tried to present this. But anyway, she brings him back to the house so he can see the boys. The boys are definitely giving him the cold shoulder, like, don't yell at our mom. And then we later see Kristine say, you know what, Michael, those pictures really were for you. I know what you like, Michael. Let me rub on your thigh. Let me try to kiss you in the mouth, see what your mouth tastes like. And then, of course, the boys walk in. What did you think about this whole, and then the M word? Well, we never know what's in to say. You can't call that little person that. You can't call
Girl,
them.
even that you had to call her a brazen low class hooker. Like what he said? She called her. Like what? What? Why would you say these things? Like I will say, I thought they did a really good job with these sons, which is crazy because we get this much of the sons. That oldest son, I was like, that's the son. That's the son. Like that little discontent that the son has for how he was like this with Kristine, for him to even later on end up with Michael. They did really good with that oldest son's portrayal.
They
Um,
did. They did. I was gonna mention that he did a great job as Jacob.
yeah, but this child, the art of seduction here, we already knew what was going on. This is what I think every doctor, everybody who ever came, to look, Shorty Bang Bang way as far as Kristine, I feel like this was her goal. I don't know who Kristine was putting it on, these judges, these doctors to have her way, but this is, her answer to everything. And we know anybody who watched the doc that Kristine was heavily involved with certain sexual narratives, and she
Funny.
was, having her way in certain spaces and wanted to subject Natalia to some of these things, like disgusting human being. And at the thought of, well, they might offer me immunity or a lesser charge if I testify against you. Well, you're not going to do that, are you? Like, what matter of fact, come on down, come on down. And the way Michael's current wife, like, your man weak. She don't want to leave him alone with Kristine. You will never get your claws into my weak man again, because I already know how that's going to go down. The moment she's alone, it's, oh, now you can see the boys and come on in. Matter of fact, come on upstairs, and using her feminine wow shout, just to see her here and to know what the real Kristine looks like. Oh,
Girl.
Michael, you was really over there pining away for that. And of course, by the skin of their teeth, because if the kids hadn't walked in, what were you going to do, Michael? Michael is just extremely weak. He's a man of the flesh. Oh, the flesh is weak. I can only sustain for so long. But it's always been you, Kristine. I've always loved you. I don't know, wife, whatever. If you tell me to jump and say how high, I'm going to do it because I've loved you forever, Kristine. Like, yeah. I guess I didn't want to spend any time here either. But it does show that how easy it would be for Michael to continue even all these years later, all these kids removed, all this marriage removed. She could just, slip him right back into her pocket and, flip that blonde hair.
I just, this is the part they got right. Michael's fickle nature and ability to be twisted and hemped up by Kristine. Because if you did watch the doc, you also know that Michael sacrificed his kids for some sex messages. Like, just crazy. Like, basically said, all right, you can do what you want. You can have custody of the kids. Like, I just want this part of you, Kristine, for some coochie, for some Kristine coochie.
Kristine
Y'all.
Coochie.
Listen, never, never. But now we're easing on down the road and things are starting to happen in the media because now Natalia has a presence online. Again, and I'm thinking that this kind of coincides, of course, with the release of the first part of the doc, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And now Natalia's birth mother from the Ukraine is starting to speak out. And that's what this article was. And of course, the bishop and Cynthia see it before, or they think they see it before Natalia. And it's like, no, we can't tell her. She's already going off the deep end. She's stalking Kristine on Facebook. She can't let this go. It's just overwhelming her. Do we tell her? And then we see we see Natalia come out and it's like, it's okay. We have to use what we have to use. And, I just want, basically, she's saying she just wants to get justice. Tyra, you can't handle the truth. What did you think about this whole exchange and finding out about your birth mother through an article? Not even a call. Like,
This with them kind of still coddling her. I needed more from these mans too. I needed more from Mr. Man than, excuse me, the Lord is in control. Like, yes, praise be thy name. And he just said, like they were on some mess too. And as much as they were protective and were taking care of Natalia, they were also dealing with her supposed antics, feeling like, she was a little, on the more so problematic side and things that they have to deal with, or also using her. We didn't get enough of that. I really wanted the daddy man to get active because he was very, very active in her life. And it was just very subdued, and it was just like, oh, remember, like, this is the Lord house, pipe down, no cuss words, no, like, okay, let's form a prayer circle. It was very much so that, but they have so much presence and so much attitude, especially Miss Mans, and this actress did a really good job with the little bit that she was given, with Tally Boo, but I just needed some more.
Dane C, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Evil Grey's Anatomy, shaking my head. Peace, ladies. Peace, Dane.
Hey,
Hope you're
Dane.
doing well today.
But this is still, I guess, them trying to cover her. But at this point, Natalia had started to get that. And we got a little bit of it, but it was like, oh, it's so positive. They love you, Natalia. Those endorphins from social media and meeting people there, meeting menses there, and all that good stuff, and just kind of smelling herself and wanting to be more independent. And I guess this, and kind of in combination with the scene that we get between her later on those steps, is kind of getting into that. But Natalia was cutting up. We really didn't get any of that.
No, they kept that. Like I said, it was very much little lady angel, cross at the ankles. Like I do what I'm told. I just want to be a part of the family. I just want to be adapted with my mama and my daddy. And yes, Bishop was very reserved in this show. We did not get the real Bishop. If we would have seen that interaction between Michael and Bishop, that would have been something to see on the TV. Defenseless defense, y'all. This was a travesty. I don't even know. And again, this is just the first part of the trial or whatever, right? Where they kind of have to do to figure out probable cause and all of those things. So it's like Michael's attorney, and I think the actor who portrays Michael's attorney did a really great job as well. He literally mirrors the man we met in the documentary that is working on Michael's case. And basically he said, they're trying to be slick and get you to re-examine her age, because remember, in the last episode, they've denied every appeal, every request to re-age based on the new information that's submitted. And so basically instantly the judge is like, you're right. Yeah, we can't mention her age. The fact that she was born in 2002 or whatever it was, 2003. Don't refer to her as a child. You can't mention CPS. So basically, we're going into this now knowing that the child neglect, child abuse charges are out the window. They still have a leg to stand on because she was disabled, and so they left a disabled person there. But we all know that the story, the case, everything hinges on this idea that Natalia was actually a child. That makes the case, right? And so here they have to throw a lot of that out and let them know that when the trial begins, you can't bring anything up like that. Tyra, what did you think of this? I was hoping we would have got to find out who Kristine was smashing to allow this, because I'm like, the lawyers was good, but were they that good?
I, it had to be more than Kristine Coochie. Somebody got paid while she was talking about, oh, I'm broke now. I need somewhere to stay. Like, I think this was her going broke. I think people were paid off. I think not just that, but somebody would have had to really answer to how long these things were able to go on. People would have got disbarred, removed from the board, removed. Like, it just would have had a really large ripple effect. So I think people were protecting themselves in their jobs. This was sad. This was right over there with, I had a joke about a roller coaster. Like, it was the same thing all over again, where we're just object, object. Like, this defeats, and it's just redundant for what we were here for. It was always about the age. We can't prove anything if we can't get to the age part and her being a kid and all of these things. It was really sad. It was really, really sad. I really, even if they were lying, I just wanted to see how they made this happen. They didn't tell us though.
No.
I just, because it was so like, what, even when you're seeing it and watching it in the doc, it's like, how is that possible? That defeats the whole purpose of this case and why we're here. If we can't even say or reference her being a child in any capacity, not just Natalia and the people, anybody who approaches the stand, if you're going to mention something where she was supposed to be under the age of 18, objection, trash. And I really want to know how they did that, but we're never going to know. We're never going to know, and there's never going to be justice in that way. But this was awful. The way I would have just walked out.
Yeah, I don't. The only thing we glean from the doc is the fact that this was bigger than all of it. It felt almost like systemic corruption in my mind, because the original judge basically ruled falsely, like without enough evidence. Like, you made an arbitrary ruling that initial time to re-age her in the first place without sufficient evidence. And now this judge doesn't want to be on record overturning that decision because he don't want to get his hands dirty. All the while you have this defenseless child, just subject to everything. And I was happy in this moment that we got to see Cynthia spaz a little bit, because what the hell do you want from her? What else can she do? Like, we've done everything we can do. What can we say? And at the end of the day, there was nothing that y'all could say. It was I even feel from the prosecutor, this little lady who barely even wanted to, she didn't want to touch this case with a 10-foot pole in the first place. I feel like it was all grimy, in my opinion, y'all. But now we get to the main portion of the trial, and it was just reprehensible, y'all. They couldn't say anything about her. They talked about her, but again, couldn't mention her age. So we all knew what this was going to be. And again, this is not even Kristine's trial. Michael and Kristine had separate trials. This was Michael's. Okay, he's sitting over there looking forlorn, and now we're seeing the son, Jacob, and he's actually looking hurt or kind of concerned. But at the end of the day, like you said, Natalia gets up there again, talking about the damn roller coaster. No, I was born in 1989.
Her whole spirit to say that, because how I was born in 2003.
Girl, I'm not saying anything, 'cause I'm not about to lie to y'all. Like, what do you want from me? But what could she do, Tyra? That's all she could do.
It is. You just want a different outcome. It was, I don't know. Let's like do better. Who's on Natalia's side? What is really the defense? Like, somebody do something. It was terrible. It just seemed like such a waste of time. And anybody who's here could see what an injustice it is, which is why I don't know how anybody could. And even that, like, even when you see Natalia and you see those pictures, like they said, like, she's clearly aging. She couldn't have been a full-blown adult at this time if she's looking like one now. She wasn't through growing. And it's, even with all the evidence, they're just like, no, we don't want to hear it.
Nope, we're done. Like, that's it. And so we know how that ends up. Michael's case ends up being thrown out, and subsequently Kristine's is dismissed. Like, they're not even going to take the effort, energy to even try to bring anything against Kristine, because they felt like, I guess, if they couldn't win against Michael, who runs his damn mouth, who basically admitted she was a child, they can't win against Kristine. And so the friend was there the whole time, and now she's finally looking at Kristine like, you lied. Like, Natalia looks older. She's still growing. Like, She wasn't grown then, and I cussed that little girl out. Um, and of course, Kristine doesn't want any pushback, so immediately, like, "F you, ho! I saved your daughter." Like, son, come on, get out of here, Michael. I need a place to stay. But what did you think about this? Finally, have you ever been in a situation where you had a friend that you had to confront with the truth, and they responded like Kristine did?
Girl, we don't play like this. We don't play like this. Like, this friend is in a long line of other people. Like, I just feel like deep down, all these people knew. Y'all knew y'all had to, even if you wanted to be like, oh, okay, even if it was possible that she was an adult, the conditions that she was left in and how she was treated were reprehensible. And all these people were, I guess that in the doc, this would be the neighbor that Natalia confronted.
Mm-hmm,
In
the
a way,
chunky
like,
one.
like something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It just, just a little too late. Like, all of you stood by and you did nothing. And this is just, this lady saying, well, I didn't really see anything. I don't know any of her antics because I didn't see.
Yeah.
But unlike what we're getting here in the doc, it was very like, yeah, you saw me, making me sleep outside. You saw them, the conditions. You just did nothing. And then when they said I did X, Y, and Z, you just believed it and kind of left me hanging. Why didn't you help me? Like, and it's just too little too late. All these people were complicit. Everybody just needed to go get a fine, go get some jail time, get something. But it's good that you acknowledge that she lied, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, I don't get that concept of having a friend you can't tell nothing to. Like, I can't tell you when you're wrong. You can't tell me when I'm wrong. What is it, a friendship? And the fact that they put this narrative out, like Kristine just had this hold on everybody. Like, she just ran everybody she was in contact with. Like, everybody believed her. Like, really, girl, Kristine? The same
Okay.
Kristine I've seen? Like,
Okay, so I confront Tyra with the truth all the time. Thank you, Dane.
yeah. The detective decides, and he and Natalia, come to a conclusion after the case is wrapped because she still wants answers. We know that this happened in the doc. The first time she was able to sit down with Michael was during the filming of the documentary, and it didn't go anything like this. In this situation, the detective brings her over to Michael's house. I need to talk to you, Michael. I need answers. I need answers. And he didn't say this famous line, but this is the line from the doc. Natalia, we were all abused. Because here it's like, you knew what she did to me. Well, she was doing stuff to me too, Natalia. Well, why didn't you stop her? You could have stopped her. We were all abused, Tyra. We were all abused.
Child, was this supposed to be the equivalent of that sit down that we got? This was
Mhm.
that moment. I just love how she's like, it's me, Natalia. I'm at the door. Open up. I was like, God, just moseyed on down. I'm glad they showed dual heel later. I was like, how the hell is she in here? This was. It just didn't hit the same because we know the impact of this and how Michael rolled up, the type of energy that he was given in the scene. I will say that little Natalia was acting, and she just, if I can't get justice in the court, I at least want it on the outside. Can you just admit to me what you did? And we all know Michael's a coward. Michael's a punk hoe. Michael don't. Michael's not going to admit to anything. He's not going to accept anything. He's going to go down on that mountain. We were all abused. And I'm never going to say that I ever thought that Michael was fully here mentally. I think, Michael was, but you were capable enough to do something, to get active. You were capable enough, all those times to, oh, she's being abused. I need to do something. Let me record her. And like, you did everything, but, actually take action because in the back of your mind, you still wanted your marriage, you still wanted your sons, and you still wanted some smacks from Kristine, which was
That's
the
what it
most
was.
important thing. And you allowed those things to kind of get in the way of you doing the right thing and protecting this daughter that you wanted. So I just wanted a daughter. I just like, no, you didn't. This, they covered the bases, but I got a kick out of Natalia rolling up and knocking on the damn door. I tell you that.
In the doc, she was knocking on everybody's door. And I just want to know why in this final episode they gave her a real walking impediment when the whole time she'd been running. She'd been running from
I
people in the
feel that
library. She
It
was
was like because
walking
they
around
wanted
the
to
block.
really lend to the orphan monstrosity evil kid of it all, and her laying texts down and tripping over the stairs, and like, oh, they really wanted to dig into those things. But now it's like, oh, we're really in normalcy now, so you're gonna get the real Natalia with her scooter, the walk girl. I was like, no, you're not. She getting her Viola Davis on. Her Get Away with Murder. She was doing a
Man,
little walk. It had her chairs. I was like, oh,
no,
okay, we're going
she was
full blown with
yeah,
it.
doing laps around the neighborhood, kicking people in the balls and running out the library and
Going
not
up library, girl.
because what the hell? She was doing marathons. Kristine, let this thing tell it. Kristine had her out there doing marathons every night. Get out there. Don't put your shoes on. Just walk barefoot. Um, they're sitting there having, this is it a kumbaya moment? I don't know what it is, but
Oh, don't
Jacob
know.
and Kristine roll up, and of course Kristine quick with the lies. What is she doing here, Michael? And then we need a place to stay for the night. Val's house flooded, and he's looking at her like, What?
Girl, always lying.
Happened. And so now we get to hear from Jacob. And I agree with what Tyra said earlier. I think this actor truly portrayed the young man that we meet in the documentary, their oldest son, who's living in a pink basement now, honey. So sad. All that promise, all that PhD. And it made me sad, Tyra, because I really think he's suffering from the sins of his parents. Like he didn't deserve to have this life. But in this scene, which we don't see in real life ever, Jacob is sorry, and now he's immediately disowned. Michael tells to Kristine, "You can't sleep here. You can't sleep here, ma'am."
You can't
Um,
sit here.
what did you think of this scene? Because this was far and away. I said, "What was this for dramatic
Girl,
effect?"
girl. They said we need everybody here in the same place at the same damn time to kind of wrap this up real quick. It went real like we need this wrapped up. So we need Kristine to roll up because I don't got nowhere to go. I wanted to see how far they were going to take it with the sons because they were here and older, and you do have Jacob here contemplating in what he's sorry about, but we never mentioned the children playing an avid role in abusing Natalia as well, which
Mhm.
is why he would have so much discontent and end up in that pink basement in the first place. I think those little nuances are necessary to see why he's so perplexed and how he would turn on Kristine so quickly.
Mhm.
And even though we kept our distance from Michael for all this time, I'm going to immediately come here and live with you. And yeah, I'm just trying to get away because you just can't even be honest, Mom. The trial is over. Nobody's around. Just admit to what you did. Like, why did you do that? Yeah, everybody played a role in it, and even how Natalia, she's like, "It's all right, you were a child too." I was like, "What is happening here? What is happening here?" It was just very, very quick in a full circle situation, and it's like, "Huh, all right, stay here." And
Yeah.
she just walks away, and I'm going to live with this mother that never existed in the doc.
Yeah. I You're right. If they would have gone into the detail about how Kristine implicated the other boys in the abuse, right? We found that Jacob urinated all over Natalia's bedding and all kinds of wild stuff she had those boys doing to Natalia, which would explain why he felt like his heart was so low and that he needed to apologize. But of course, we didn't get that in the doc. We got that he still didn't want, he still was protecting Kristine, even in the
Yeah,
documentary. It was just that he was hot mic'd, honey, when he
yeah.
said he kicked her down the stairs. That was how it came out, but never
Mhm.
of any of his own free
Mhm.
will and volition. That would have made this scene make more sense. Because if you were a kid and you were completely innocent and there was nothing you could have done, why do you now feel so bad? And you were brave enough to do this in front of your mom?
Girl. And girl, Kristine was gonna come stay with Michael.
To come
Really?
and his wife.
And a wife? She was gonna go over there. And oh no, hell no, never. I was like, what are we doing here?
A mess. And y'all, that's pretty much all, folks. At the end, we see an actual video of Natalia's mom, crying and saying, what the doctor told her basically, if you keep this child, your life's going to be ruined. You don't have the resources to take care of a special needs or disabled child, all of those things. Kristine is stewing in her own juices, I guess, in this moment, knowing that there will be repercussions from this. Michael up there looking dazed and confused. And Natalia, with her new family and going online and saying, oh, there are people that care about me, there are people that like me, and kind of ending with a smile. What did you think of each of these characters in their final scenes in the show?
Oh, Kristine in that moo in the country in the middle of nowhere stewing in them juices. Get out of my face, Kristine. Get out of my face, Kristine. And for anybody who didn't think that Kristine walked away still having her way is crazy, because this wasn't the last of the last. Like, justice was not given, served, in the court of public opinion or out of it. Kristine was fine.
Mhm.
Kristine is fine. Michael is fine. Like, the only person who suffered was Natalia.
Yeah.
Michael longing and gazing at that 7-year-old picture like, oh, I could have did something. There was never that much beef or that much plex. Till this day, we were all abused. Like, he's gonna forever be the perpetual victim. He's never gonna own up to anything. So all of that gazing and him admitting anything to Natalia in that little sit down, that was a lot. We barely got that. We know what happened in that sit down. He got up just as quickly as he sat down.
That part.
And this situation with Natalia, I really wish that we got the dimension. I don't know if they didn't have time for that, but like I said, her really getting into that online presence and knowing like, oh, there are people out there who care. And regardless if I won in court or not, I won in the grander scheme of things. The way, when the funds started to come in and the GoFundMe's and the endorsements and like that little moment that she had after court where she was kind of internalizing it and blaming like what you said, that this was, a shot in hell that we would win anyway. And you never believed in me, and that's not how their relationship, kind of descended. It really went left because all of a sudden, and Natalia was moving really different because there was, and the family was moving different because there was money coming in. And, I'm older now, I want a little boyfriend. I want to be outside, and y'all all religious, and we got to go to this little piece of church. It was a thing. It was a real thing. And we didn't really get any of that. But if they wanted to try to paint something to give Natalia a happy ending, go and give her one, child.
I guess so. And I thought the comments were creepy anyway, but it would explain that relationship with that grown ass man that he
Mm-hmm.
ended up having, that they blurred his face out when he says, I'm going to marry her, which is really gross because at this time she was still very young. We discover at the end that since the series was completed, abuse allegations against Antoine and Cynthia Mans have come to light. They maintain their innocence, and to this day, so does Kristine Barnett. But in 2024, with the help of an attorney, Natalia received a U.S. passport that officially restored her birth date to September 4th, 2003, making her just 21 years old at the time this series was released. So she's now aged back to her proper age. Kristine was never claiming guilt anyway. That's insanity. And my question is, if Kristine was capable of doing this, what else has she done, or what else will she do? Tyra, what do you think, and what do you think about the outcome? We kind of already knew uh,
Well,
about all this.
yeah, I mean, they said it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it because it feels a little jarring just from the little bit that we got to be like later on abuse allegations between Anton and Cynthia. Like, where? They were great. They were good to her. They protected her. Like, what? We didn't see anything that
Mhm.
the food stamps. That's it. That elicited abuse. Like, it
Mhm.
just it kind of feel like it came out of nowhere because that's something that we didn't see. Um, I would love to, follow up with, the rest of the story, but we don't need no more Natalia.
No, child. Yeah, that was it. And I ain't got nothing else on it. I don't have nothing else to say about it. I want to put Natalia to bed, honey. I don't want to see no other reality show, no other documentary. I want to put her, the Mans, them Barnetts. I want to put them all in the back burner, and I hope for the best for Natalia in her life, in whatever her endeavors are, and that she gets some help, because what's insanity to me is that through all of this, the doc and the show, not once do we see her really sit down with a therapist and do some intensive therapy. She meets with one here, she meets with the detective, and they talk, but where is like the consistent therapy that one would need to undergo as a result of all the trauma of being in an adult insane asylum? like being abandoned at 8 years old, and God knows what else that happened to her. Where does that healing come from, Tyra? And do you have any final thoughts on the series?
Girl, she went to church.
Well, we,
They prayed it away. Okay, it was very that she went to church and they prayed it away, and that's all we're gonna get. I sincerely hope that this is the last of the Natalia. We don't need anything else. Although it is a story that keeps on giving. It's always the more unfolding, and I'm sure as she gets older, some more is gonna unfold. Um, but yeah, I hope that this is it. This feels like it's been milked for all it's worth.
yeah, I think so. And then let's be done with it. But you guys, if you are a part of the membership, or if you want to be, I want to play for you guys my next movie pick, which we have this Saturday night, our blockbuster movie night. It's my turn. I am going to play the promo for that, and we will be right back to let you know what else we have coming.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change. Y'all didn't have the chances that you had, Miss Hawkins.
Yo, baby, we talking about combinate and consolidate.
I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, Miss Hawkins. And I wouldn't want to be I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of proof. If I'm going down, I'm taking a whole lot of people with me. I never liked you anyway.
A big fine. Listen, we will be watching New Jack City, and this will be basically a first time watch for me, y'all. So don't consider the membership. It'll be fun. We will be on YouTube, of course, and we will be in the Discord watching it all together as a family. Tyra, let people know what you got going on.
I hope Dre is joking in the chat.
Please stop.
Zeus will do it. They will do it. Y'all, if anybody is a member tonight and literally the next hour, we're going to continue on with our watch along. We are watching Uninvited Guest starring Mekhi Phifer, which is a hot mess. We're watching that, and we're going to follow that up with Pandora Box 2. So be there for that. And also tonight, we will be watching the latest episode of Raising Kanan in the Discord. So be over there for that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be there live, and then tomorrow night is all reality, and yeah, you'll see it on the page. But thank y'all so much for being here. We appreciate you very, very much, and thank y'all for supporting us through this entire season of Good American Family. And let's hope that this is it, y'all. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you over in the Discord.
I considered myself blessed. I've known I was put on this earth to build a world where all kids can feel safe.